Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio. Guys catching them on fly rods, too.
And now it's reopened. I'll tell you who bought it.
We've got a lot of, I know it's been quoted before as blue walleye.
Broadcasting on the Sporting Journal Radio Network, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch on YouTube.
Fish on right now.
Well, we're here at the 2024 Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. And our guest now is Jeremy Smith. I fish, I hunt, and always will.
It's just to look out for your everyday hunter, angler, and trapper that's out there.
A Fish Hunt Forever production. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Well, welcome to the hot, stormy Upper Midwest and Sporting Journal Radio. I'm Bret Amundson along with Dan Amundson. What's up, Dan?
Do you think when people watch that open and they see a dude in a kilt, they're just like, what kind of show am I watching right now?
That was the goal.
Yeah, well, they might have shut it off. I don't know. That's old Parsival there, in case you were wondering.
That was an interesting interview. That is a wild story. I'm not going to tell it right now, but go back. You'll find an interview with him a while back on YouTube or in the old podcast archives. Just ran into him turkey hunting in Nebraska.
Just walking around in a kilt.
Things you find on public land.
Hang on, David. You have, what's the sickness when your face is frozen? You know what I'm talking about?
Little Bell's palsy.
That thing, yeah, that's what you have right now.
He's all frozen. He's all frozen up over there. All right, well, while Dan works on that, I'll tell you what we got coming up on this show. We're going to talk a little bit about fishing in stormy weather. What should you have on your boat? What should you plan for? Maybe you're going camping in the Boundary Waters. We've done that and had to deal with some storms up there. We'll give you some tips on what you should have if you're up there. Or if you've done that and you have some of your own, make sure you comment below on our YouTube channel. Right here, so we can help get people through some stormy weather. David, how's it going? Is he back?
I think we're healed.
I am back.
Oh, look at that. The miracle of science. and it's a medical marvel.
Follow the science.
Also, our new sponsor, Guardian Eagle Resort up in Ontario, Clarence Bergen, one of the owners, is going to join us. And he's been guiding. He's been on the water, and they are on the fish up there. So we're going to learn about this fly-in location in Ontario and talk about how you can get up there for a trip. Also, Joe Henry is going to join us to talk a little bit about Lake of the Woods and what's going on up there. And actually a resort that had closed has been reopened. We'll tell you what that is and how you can plan a trip there as well coming up later in the show. Dan, who are the sponsors?
So many places we want you to go, but the first place to go is Inver Grove Toyota. They're the official truck sponsor of Fish Hunt Forever. Hop into a new Toyota and get to all these places we're talking about, like Lake of the Woods Tourism, Fish Walleye Capital, and learn more at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. OnX Hunt, know where you're going with OnX Maps. Recent imagery, offline maps, Minnesota-specific hunt layers. Download the OnX Hunt app today. Tasman Lake Lodge. Catch world record trout and pike at Saskatchewan's Tasman Lake. Learn more at tasmanlake.com. Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Catch it all at Devil's Lake. Prairie Sportsman, the new season is wrapped up, but check your TV guide for local air times as it's still airing, or watch episodes anytime on YouTube. Haybell Heights Campground and Resort on Devil's Lake. There's a place you can go fish Devil's Lake this summer. Learn more at haybellheights.com. And Guardian Eagle Resort. Come fish the Ontario waters at Guardian Eagle Resort. Fly directly from Minneapolis. Learn more at guardianeagle.com. I almost said Minneapolis.
Indianapolis.
That's what they were saying at the airport.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, in Atlanta. On this flight to Minneapolis, that's not it.
The one lady said it like 3 times, and then the next time she came on, she goes, the flight to St. Paul is now boarding. Oh, man. Also want to thank Devil's Lake. Visit Devil's Lake and Susie Kenner and Tanner Cherney and those guys coming on board here as a sponsor of Sporting Journal Radio 2. Of course, we love going up to Devil's Lake and seeing our buddies at Haybell Heights, of course, while we're up there, too. So looking forward to learning more about how you can make a trip, or we can make a trip, to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. All right. We got trips planned and things to film and this and that, and the first thing I think you said to me this morning was, have you looked at the weather forecast?
It's so bad. This has to be some of the worst weather for anglers, whether it's the wind or the constant rain. This is just ridiculous. And yeah, I can suck it up and go fish in the wind and fish in the rain, but hey, if it's lightning out, you're not going to go.
So when we recorded this show, it was on Wednesday, June 12th, and I happened to open up Facebook when I got up, and that Reed Timmer, the storm chaser, was doing a video, and he was eating a slice of Casey's pizza, So at first I thought maybe he was out here somewhere, but I'm not sure where he was. But he's like, yeah, so I'm in Minnesota today, and I don't know, I might be in Duluth or Southwest Minnesota. He's like, there's a lot going on. So by the time you watch this, you'll know what happened on Wednesday.
If you don't watch this, we lost power and couldn't get it uploaded or something.
That's right.
I don't know.
We're a little worried about the storms.
I think we'll be fine here.
Probably. We have this. We've got a lake to the west of us that seems to break up all the storms as they approach. We kind of
The whole river valley,
yeah.
it either follows it or falls apart once it hits it.
Devil's Lake blocks everything.
That's right. It's kind of nice. But Dan, I know this was kind of nice to have. This is my number one tip for stormy weather. Call me a boomer or whatever you want to call me with this thing, but I love this, and I couldn't find it. All the storms last week, I was tearing up the house trying to find this. It's a crank weather radio.
The wind-up emergency radio.
They're so awesome.
You know, I'm so glad you put your initials on it so you didn't get it confused with everyone else's crank radio that they have.
You never know.
Nobody else has one.
I put my initials on everything now.
It's not a dumb thing to have, I will say.
But, yeah, just tune her right to the Weather Channel.
Turn that on. Let's see what they have to say.
All right, I don't get good reception.
Oh,
in this part.
man.
You ever seen one of those? An antenna?
Yes.
An antenna.
I was talking to the audience, not necessarily you, David.
5 miles per hour.
Here we go.
Midnight. Lightning, none. Extended forecast. Friday, partly cloudy. Slight chance of showers. Highs in the lower 80s. Lows in the lower 60s.
All right, we're going fishing on Friday. Sweet.
So, and this thing's got a light on it. It's got, if you're really like lost or you need help, put a little siren on.
That's cute.
And then the light, and then you can charge up your phone, and you can plug it in to charge it. You can charge up your phone or whatever other USB electronics, and then you can always power it with a crank.
Wind her back up.
I have had one of these things my entire life, and I didn't have one for a few years there once cell phones really kind of took off, but I had to go on Amazon and buy one after that year that we lost a couple trees.
Well, we had that.
We
were
had
listening to
That's right.
102.5 out of whatever town that was out of, getting all the weather, and I don't. Didn't you redeem like some points from something for that? Like,
oh, I might have
some rewards. It's like, what'd you get with your points? Oh, weather radio. Okay, nerd.
Hand crank radio.
I'll tell you, man, they're great. And like, I don't know how many times up in the Boundary Waters and places like that up where you didn't necessarily have cell reception, but there's usually a weather band. You can usually get weather radio service. It's a way for you to stay connected to weather reports. And you hear horror stories about people camping in the Boundary Waters when a storm rips through and they hide in their tent to take shelter, and then a tree falls or something like that. So that's obviously a very tragic situation, but it allows you to try to stay ahead of the weather a little bit. And I remember, Dan, I did not have this weather radio with me on this trip, but we were on a canoe trip, and it was 5 of us, and I was the youngest. This is a while back, and I was in the middle of the canoe, sitting on the bottom of the canoe. So the guy in the front and the guy in the back paddling, and then I was in the middle paddling too. And all of a sudden it started pouring on us, and we had probably a 5 or 6 mile paddle to get back to camp. And we're just chugging along in these canoes, and all of a sudden lightning struck the land like right next to us as we were going along the shore, and we're like, I think we'll just pull off here for a little bit and just get off the water. So
Probably a smart move,
Yeah.
Should maybe, bring an umbrella next time, stick that up. Or
Brilliant.
if you decide to pull over, climb the nearest tree to look for the storm.
it's a good idea.
Stick your rod up if you feel static electricity, stuff like that.
These are
Please don't take this seriously.
These are
and die.
tips.
Safe
We are not
Dan
held
safety
liable for your safety.
wow, Dan, wow. That's,
What not to do.
All right, so be safe if you're out there fishing and you see stormy weather. Stay ahead of it and get off the lake if you really have to. I haven't seen, I've heard stories of arcs on rods and your line starting to float up. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that. But you see something like that, get off the water as fast as possible and go straight to Inver Grove Toyota, where right now you can get a $500 additional trade-in allowance and $250 off the lowest advertised price for the summer. If you call up Inver Grove Toyota or go to their website, you won't see anything about that deal unless you go to the Fish Hunt Forever page. That is our deal. It is the only place you can get it is through our show right here, Sporting Journal Radio. So go to our website and click on Toyota Deal to take advantage of that at Inver Grove Toyota, 494 in Robert Street in Inver Grove Heights. Dan, we saw kind of an interesting video the other night. I thought it was pretty wild. You know, it's funny watching YouTube, the way I watch YouTube and the way Dan watches YouTube, and it probably has something to do with the fact that he watches it more than I do, and he's probably a little younger. But when he's scrolling through, David, it's just like, it's, you know how like you can hold the button down and you'll see like a constant scroll of stuff? He's hitting it, but that's how fast it's going.
Sorry, I know how to read.
He's just looking for thumbnails.
No, I'm not. I'm reading.
He's speed reading apparently because that thing is cruising by, and he's probably seen these. It's his it's his algorithm, his account. So he's probably seen a lot of these videos already, which I hadn't. I'm like, oh, that one, okay, it's gone. Oh, that one, no, that one's gone. Like just hauling through, and he's watched so many of them. We finally settled on. Well,
make me sound like just a loser. Sits at home and watches YouTube. He's watched all the fishing YouTube videos, so now we watched FLW Leech Lake walleye fishing from 2009. The whole 45 minutes of it. It was great.
It was
awesome.
Pretty cool, yeah.
I did get a kick out of that Snapchat you sent, like, tournament fishers today just stare at their live scope. That was from 2009, and the guy was just staring at his graph the whole time.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because people are complaining about live scope constantly, and there's been some more discussion about live scope. I thought it would start dying down, but I feel like it's still ramping up. But the people that complain about tournament anglers just staring, it's a video game, you're staring at your electronics. Nobody wants to watch you just stare down the whole time. Dang, live scope. That's exactly what this guy was doing in 2009 with just his sonar.
And bass guys were doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. But Dan, who is your favorite sponsor from the 2009?
Folgers. Somebody had a Folgers jersey on. There was a boat wrapped in BP. Like, can we bring that back? I know Bill Shimoda's got a Mountain Dew boat. Like, I want more of that. I want a Sundrop boat or something. Cool. Something different. Yeah, Northland and Rapala and all that. I'll take that too, I guess. But I want like Maxwell House, or I'd like Folgers.
Maxwell House.
Black Rifle coffee.
The
whatever.
Best part of waking up.
Great Value coffee's pretty good.
Oh, there you go.
I'll take get your boat wrapped in Great Value. That'd be perfect for my boat. Great Value.
Hey, Dan, did you ever have to take, when you were growing up, speaking of running boats, did you ever have to take a class when you were younger?
Have to? No. Did I? Yes.
Oh, you didn't have to?
Well, I can't remember what year I did it, but I didn't have a boat to drive, but there was a jet ski on the 4th of July that presented some opportunities, so I cranked it out in one day because I wanted to drive the jet ski. But there's different tiers and different ages of what you can do or can't do with parental supervision, and we didn't have a boat that I was going to take out by myself or anything. We didn't live on a lake that I could just rip out by myself. We have to drive somewhere. So my dad was going to be there. So that wasn't really a thing, but I wanted to drive the jet ski. So I did that, and whatever. I did it in a day online. It was pretty easy.
Well, it looks like Minnesota now, and they probably had this for a long time, I'm not sure, but an online boating safety course for youth, age 12 to 17. There is a Minnesota Water Operator's Permit. And then North Dakota requires youth ages 12 to 15 who want to operate a boat or personal watercraft by themselves with at least a 10-horsepower motor must pass the state's boating basics course. It's available at home. It's online, and you can find out. It's free to take, looks like, and you can find out. The home study course is free. There's a fee to take it online. The fee, so find out all of the information at North Dakota Game and Fish.
Look it up on your phone.
Yeah. The ND Game and Fish has got all the info there, and you can find out more about that. So we got to take a quick break. We're going to talk. We're going to have to Guardian Eagle Resort in Ontario here in just a second, and then check in with Joe Henry. But I did look up some more tips if you're in a storm and you're doing some fishing. I found this one. It's in a forum, in a Pennsylvania fly fishing forum of all places.
Because they know about being on the water.
Well, he's Tom.
You're in the water.
Well, yeah, or on shore.
Tom Gamber is his name, and he says, "Find the bank." This is the way I assume a fly angler would sound like. Find the bank. Sit down clear of rising water.
Adjust your monocle.
Reach for the flask, bourbon and water, and try to keep them from mixing, which I thought was brilliant.
Sounds like a fly fisherman.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, Tasman Lake is open for the summer. If you're looking to catch giant lake trout and northern pike in northwest Saskatchewan, go to tasmanlake.com and check out the show that we produced there that we're going to be heading up to film again June 29th through July 14th. Tasman TV is the name of that. Find all of that at tasmanlake.com. If you want to catch a big walleye, go where the big walleyes are. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world, with a variety of resorts and lodging facilities offering full-service fishing. Lake of the Woods is also home to sturgeon, sauger, perch, trophy pike, muskie, smallmouth bass, burbot, and more. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods today. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. All right, over the last couple of years, I've worked various sports shows for different reasons, and I keep running into our next guest in different places, in Chicago, Minneapolis, different places, and that's Clarence Bergen joining us right now from Guardian Eagle Resort. It's a resort up in Ontario, and I'm excited to be working with you guys now and have you on board here with us, and I'm looking forward to coming up there and seeing the place. How's it going, first of all? Looks like a nice day up there.
It's a beautiful day up here. It's got a little bit of a breeze to it, but it's a beautiful day, and it gave us a nice walleye chop. So we've just got back from fishing today and landed up getting this organized and getting cleaned up so that I could actually have a discussion with you guys and talk about our wonderful resort and lake we've got. So, yeah,
we tried to have you on a little bit earlier, and you said you were covered in walleye and pike. So
yeah, it was a day that it's. Every day here, you line up catching a ton of fish, and it's just a great experience to bring people out and experience our wonderful lake.
You know, Ontario is a great province for fishing, and especially for us Minnesotans that like to walleye fish. It's a nice place to get to. A lot of people look for drive-to destinations. You don't hear about the fly-to ones as often, and that gets me excited because those don't see as much pressure, I don't think, as all the drive-to ones. So being a fly-to destination, that kind of lets you control the lake a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. We are the only resort on our lake. Years ago, they installed a 3,200-foot runway, which is hard-surfaced concrete runway, and it allows us to get direct flights in from exactly your neck of the woods in Minneapolis. We fly out of lots of major different centers and lots of different airports, but our go-to is typically the Anoka Blaine Airport, and we have direct flights from there to us. Here at Guardian Eagle, we've got a charter company that we work with that will actually pick you up, get your luggage in there, help you cross the border. You touch down for border crossing, and then you land directly at our runway about an hour and 45 minutes after you get out of the Blaine Airport.
Okay, that's pretty slick. I'd imagine a lot of people are flying up from the Twin Cities, or a lot of your guests are Twin Cities residents. So being able to fly right out of Anoka and Blaine there, that's pretty slick. So tell us about the experience up there. What can people expect?
Well, right from when we pick up your luggage at the airport here when you land, we call it an airport, but it's really just an apron that we grab your luggage, get it to your cabin. We'll suit you up with some coffee and figure out what meal you come in for, whether you came in for breakfast or cocktail hour, and get your meal arranged according to your schedule. And you're depending on what time you again get here, you land up you're enjoying a quick breakfast and then get out on the water. Your guide will take you out in a guided boat, and you land up catching your shore lunch. So you catch, however many. We land up usually bringing 2 to 4 walleye per boat a day into shore lunch, and prepare it up and make sure that you're well fed and ready to go for your afternoon of fishing. If you land up getting here in an evening, then you'll end up usually arriving around cocktail hour, eating dinner, and if you want to get excited and head out on the water in the evening, we'll have a guide take you out and show you around the lake a little bit, maybe do some sightseeing as well. Sometimes when the August seasons, we'll go out looking for wildlife on the shorelines. In the early season, we'll do a lot more fishing in the early season. Just there's some good spots that are within a mile or half mile of camp, and you can land another whole bunch of walleye just after dinner. So either way, we look after that, and then we get to show you to your cabins. Your cabins are all very nice plush bedding, beautiful, comfortable cabins, lots of room to move around. They've all got full-size refrigerators in them. If you've got they're stocked with ice and your general pops. If you bring your own mixes, you're welcome to do that, or we can provide mixes for you depending on what your flavors are. Usually, because our flights are including your border crossing, if you have any special requests for drinks, we will try to accommodate those well in advance and know about them, a month before you arrive, that, hey, you have a preferred flavor that you'd like to see, and we'll have that stocked in your fridge for you when you get here. So then the next morning you start with your breakfast again. There's a select special breakfast, or there's your traditional bacon and eggs, toast and hash browns, and we'll get you fed before we get you out on the water. So the whole thing is all inclusive. Your guide is putting your bait on your hook, dealing with your fish, helping you measure them up and score them. And if you do decide to throw a tournament together, we'll keep track of all your winnings to make sure that you're getting scored in your proper spot.
Okay. Well, that's perfect. I mean, do people need to bring anything? Do they bring rods, tackle, or maybe a few things here and there, or do you provide all of that?
Some guests do choose to bring their favorite rod or tackle, especially the ones that are, fishing with a rod that they've had for years. That's their known comfortable handle and all that stuff. But we do run some high quality rods here as well. We've got some Fenwick products, and we've got some, actually a lot of different selection, and depending on your fishing skills and ability, we'll suit you up with a rod, and also type of rod that you're wanting to be able to fish with. We've even got some kids rods or some lighter duty rods if you're not wanting to hold on to a 7-foot pole all day. We've got lighter units that are able to still reel up the fish, but are a little easier on the arm for casting or on fatigue for just catching that many fish.
Sure. So, it's catching that many fish. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. We're talking, is it all walleye and pike, or do you have bass or any other fish in there?
We are a walleye and pike lake. The other fish are very minimal that we've had. We'll have the odd burbot that'll show up, but no other sport fish are on our lake, so to say.
Sure.
Our average walleye size is probably sitting around the 19 to 20 inch walleye right now. That's what it's been this spring at least. And today my average, I was saying, was probably going to be looking at being well over 20 today with the average that we had. Typically speaking, though, we are a numbers lake, and we are always in search of bigger and better fish. So,
sure. Well, I mean, catching if you're averaging, low 20-inch fish, that's a fun day. Oh, guys catching them on fly rods too.
You betcha, and that's one of the things that is unique, I've heard, to Guardian Eagle Resort and to Lesseps Lake. We do get a few fly fishermen that want to catch their lunch on fly rods, and it's amazing how many our fish are aggressive. I always say they're aggressively eating. Soft bite is a rarity up here, and so if you're fishing with fly rods, you can be fishing. Some of them will use a bit of a weighted fly and let it drop a little bit in the water, but they'll come up 7-8 feet and smack your fly, and then you get a game on. And in the same spots, you got just as good a chance of having a big northern decide that it wants attack on your fly. And we've had many guests catch big, beautiful northern and walleye on flies, depending on their patience and skill set on being able to handle them.
That's awesome. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about the lake and how you fish it, and like what other options there are for people when they come up. If they want to jig or troll or cast or whatever or fly fish for that matter. Claire Bergen is our guest. We got to take a quick break. Guardian Eagle Resort Ontario. GuardianEagle.com is the website. You can see pictures, information about how to get up there, what the packages are, and all of that. So more coming up here with with Claire from Guardian Eagle Resort on Sporting Journal Radio in just a second. All right, if you're looking for a world-class walleye fishing destination this summer, check out Devil's Lake, North Dakota, where the walleye bite remains strong even through the dog days of summer. Visit devilslakend.com to learn more and to get your trip planned. Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. We're back on Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in on the radio network by demand, sportingjournalradio.com, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you very much. If you are, you're going to see pictures of real dark golden walleyes. We love to walleye fish here on this show, and I always say that going to Canada is cheating because you just don't see the fishing pressure that you see in a state like Minnesota down here. But the other thing that you see, we got a little bit of those dark golden walleyes here, but I feel like they just get more colorful when you get up into Canada. And Claire Bergen is our guest right now. And Claire, at Guardian Eagle Resort there, the fish that you catch, it looks like you get those dark golden walleyes up there.
Yeah, it's amazing, actually. I find how dark they are. And sometimes you'll end up there being several different color shades that we will pick up depending on either where we are on the lake or even seemingly it seems like time of season. Beautiful color on them, aggressive fat fish. They're a lot of fun to catch, and you also land up. We've got a lot of. I know it's been quoted before as blue walleye, and we kind of coined them as that, even though we're not believing we have the subspecies of blue walleye. But we've got I've caught a walleye that are the bright blue right through the whole fin, and
really?
It's pretty neat to see. Yeah, for sure. And so it is it's seemingly a darker colored fish than a lot of walleye are in the region, but our water has some natural tannins in it that bring a little bit more pigment, but the meat comes out nice and white and tastes great. So they're great fun fish to catch, and they taste good too.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about the blue walleyes if you had some of those up there, and then and then your water is a little bit stained, which is probably why the walleye fishing is so good.
Yep, exactly. We can find certain spots on the lake that definitely do clear up a bit, but often the pigment of the walleye actually changes to the resident walleye of that area, and it'll actually lighten up a touch. So it is great, and we also experience in different regions, depending on there's some waters that come into the lake and stuff. So the flow almost changes as water is running off from different hillsides and stuff into the lake. So you'll end up having some pigments changing at those areas as well.
Let's talk about the lake a little bit, because when I looked at it on a map, and we'll see if Dan has a chance to pull it up here, but it looks fairly long and narrow.
Yeah, so it's actually the lodge is situated in the center of three fingers, one that heads to the south, one that heads to the north, and one that heads to the northeast. So we're actually centrally located. It's almost 7.5 miles each way to the end of the lake, and then there's tributaries and little fingers off of each other, depending on the direction that you go. There's also lots of islands and stuff to fish around and get in behind if you need to for any kind of winds or weather that comes up. And you'll notice by looking at the map, we don't have a lot of big area water crossings. So it's a nice lake to take the family out, or if you just simply don't want to be bashing waves all day long, it's nice to be able to find a spot where the waves don't get up, really a foot high is a big wave around here, just because of the amount of small channels and stuff like that we have. But yet at the same note, we have water that is sitting at as depths of 160 feet in many spots.
Oh, wow.
So it lands up being able to offer all kinds of different varieties. You can fish all your different types of water if you like to fish into the rock piles, or if you want to fish on top of humps, you want to fish into the weed beds. We've got all kinds of different fishing scenarios to run past you. and appease to whatever style of fishing you're liking or used to.
Well, walleye is probably what they're going up there for, and then looks like a lot of nooks and crannies and spawning bays for northern pike too. I bet guys could have a lot of fun whether they're fly fishing or casting for some of those big toothy critters up there.
Yep, there is a lot of bays like that you can just pop into, see what is available there, present your hook as many times as you feel fit to see what you can draw out of it. There's lots and lots of nooks and crannies, and there's shallow bays and there's bays that you can pull a boat into that are sitting at 30 feet deep. So lots of little hideouts, and it makes for the guests that I just had here were just saying how it's an entertaining lake when you look at the different structures that you run into, and where they thought we'd be sitting on 10, 15 feet of water, we'd be sitting in 30 feet of water, or vice versa. So it's a pretty neat lake that we are mapping along the way here using our depth finders, and we're actually building our own map because we don't have that available from provincially. So it is something that we're putting together, and every year we get a little further on it and get a little more information and help our guides and anglers do their best.
I think that's fun to be able to map like that and learn, especially some of those, a remote lake like that doesn't have any map. You can just, I didn't realize that was there. Interesting. So are guys, when they're walleye fishing then, I know you said people can do whatever they want, but are they generally jigging? And then are they using, what's the live bait situation? Down here, we hardly run any live bait. I mean, we can, but we hardly run any live bait anymore. I know Canada, different areas have different restrictions on live bait, but I'd guess a guy could go up there with a jig and a plastic or of some sort and probably do just fine.
Yeah, I had so we to answer your question first, I guess we have live bait available. It gets flown in here as needed, and sometimes we're getting 180 dozen every 2 to 3 days. So we go through some live bait for sure. And I just had a father-son in the boat that actually the father was fishing with plastic as a familiar Minneapolis fisherman, and the son said he wanted to fish with live bait. And they could almost go 1-to-1, I would say, pretty close on the fish caught. I personally do fish plastics mostly, usually some Berkeley Gulp Alive. It's kind of my go-to. I will use live bait on occasion if it's just, needing to get used up, I guess. But it lands up being that we primarily will use a jig and a minnow for most of our guest fishing, but we will obviously try whatever it is that you're interested in. Some guys want to troll, and we'll put on some reef runners and go do some trolling, depending on also the species that they're after. If you're going in for some big pike, trolling some big old spoons or some of the other musky lures are often used when chasing our big toothy pike that are out here.
Talk about the kind of boats and how far people are running in those boats.
So we're running 16 and a quarter foot Lund Fury XLs, which is the largest version of the Lund boat in that 16 and a half foot range. 50 and 60 horse motors on them, so they'll move pretty good. But they also you land up, if you decided that you were going to go all the way down to the other end of the lake, you're not spending all of your time cruising over there, while somebody's just kind of talking at 10 miles an hour. You're able to get on plane and get moving, even if the boat has got a couple people in it. Typically, we don't fish more than 2 guests per boat, but sometimes there'll be a third person along in a party, and we're able to still move the boat properly and get it up and get going. We're also looking at, their comfy seats. We take pride in knowing that the seats are functional and able to be sat in for the day. We also have built-in live well aerators, all that fine stuff. And they come equipped with a guide. So what better boat is a boat that's equipped with a guide you don't have to drive? Yeah,
that's right. And people, I'm assuming a lot of people probably want to bring a couple walleyes home. That's something you'll pack some up and freeze them, and they can fly them back?
Yeah, for sure. The nose of our aircraft are usually very cold when they're flying back, so we will pack up the 2 conservation fish that you're allowed to take home, and they'll be backpacked and put on ice, and that way they'll travel with you back to your place of destination. If you're traveling further than Minneapolis, which some of our guests do with using Minneapolis as a hub to rendezvous with. We've got guests that are coming from California, from Florida, Mexico, wherever they're coming from, and they use Minneapolis as their hub to meet at. And we can look at packaging them up better or making those arrangements beforehand, so they come with a little mini cooler, ice box to bring them further if they need to travel them further.
And it looks like you got pretty good internet up there too, should somebody want to use it.
Yeah, we are running Starlink internet system, and since we've been using that, we've never had a guest complain about internet, which is really nice. It's nice to be able to communicate back home. If you do have to do a tiny bit of office work, you can log in and do that stuff pretty easily. And it's also nice to share your big fish pictures with your family and friends back home, and get a little bit of envy that you're out here fishing with us. So
let's be honest. People say they need it for work, but that's really what they're doing. They're sending their fish pictures or putting them on Facebook or whatever.
To their coworkers.
Most of the time, that's where it's going, yeah. The
right.
odd one is sneaking around for work, but not too many, so.
Yeah, well, it's a nice option to have. I know some people like to get away, but in today's world, it's hard to. Particularly for what we do, we wouldn't be able to travel as much as we do if there wasn't internet and some decent internet where we go. So we're looking forward to coming up there. We just got to work out the dates, but we're going to see you up there here this summer. I wish you well between now and then, and well, of course, all season. I wish you well, and say hi to Twyla for us. And if people want to book a trip, what should they do?
Check in with our website and get our info, or call Twyla at I don't know the number. Got to look on our website, guardianeagle.com. Yeah, guardianeagle.com, and check in with Twyla. She's got some available dates in August yet to get some people up, and whatever. Even if it's short notice, give us a try, and if we can get your passport information soon enough, we'd love to have you up here and show you our beautiful camp and our resort and catch some beautiful fish with you.
GuardianEagle.com is the website. Claire Bergen, appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on the show this week.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hunting season will be here before you know it, and it's time to get ready for your next adventure with the onX Hunt app. Whether you're traveling in search of roosters, elk, waterfowl, or looking to score on a whitetail close to home, onX Hunt can help you be more successful this season. Route, plan, and navigate with private and public land boundaries, recent imagery, offline maps, and Minnesota-specific hunt layers. Download the Hunt app on the App Store or Google Play and join the millions of hunters that trust onX Hunt.
Hey, we're back on Sporting Journal Radio. Don't forget to check out our store. We got hats, hoodies, sun shirts like this one right here, which you can get at sportingjournalradio.com. Just click on store. Joe Henry's our guest now from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, how you doing?
Well, the question I have: Do you have those shirts in like a kind of a bigger guy style, like a double X?
That's exactly what this one is that I'm wearing. Yeah, 2X.
Really? You wear a double X?
I do, because I have so many muscles.
Well, I tell you what, the guys like things wearing loose nowadays. Maybe I should go for a 3X, David. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Up to you.
My issue is not this. My issue is this, which
is that's what they all say.
I mean, I'm kind of like this a little bit. It's like I'm pregnant.
The guy with the biggest mustache chimes in. He's picking on two other guys with mustaches. I mean, here I am clean shaved, and I'm like the odd man out.
Well, they sell them at stores.
I can still be an outdoors person and not have a beard or a mustache, you guys. I'm just saying.
You can't. Well, if you were wearing one of these, we'd take you more seriously, even without the facial hair. So we'll get you.
All are welcome here.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely. You bet. Well, it's summertime, and I talk about these shirts all the time, Joe, because they got the hood, and I'm all about protecting myself from the sun now. My dad's had, skin cancer. He just got another little piece of skin on his nose removed the other day. So it's really important. And whether you're, a lot of guys use sunscreen. I don't personally like to use it. I'm going to try to get into the habit of using it more because I just don't, especially walleye fishing, Joe. You know how sensitive they are to smells. I get a little nervous about that.
It's interesting, and I agree 100%. We as anglers have to be more responsible getting out in the sun. And, if you notice right now, I have one of these Blackfish shirts on, but I have a long sleeve shirt. And, I wear long sleeve shirts fishing all the time. When I take my shirt off, I don't know if I look like a panda bear or what. I got white hands, and sorry, a tan hands, white body. You know what I mean? Because I also have a long sleeve shirt on when I go fishing now. It helps rather than putting on all those chemicals. But I do still take some spray on stuff and rub it on my nose, my forehead, my cheeks, the back of my neck, and even my hands. And then even when I'm sitting in the boat a long time, I notice if I have shorts on, my knees will get sunburned, and you know what I mean. So, but it's an important tool. And the fact of the matter is, it's summertime out, and with the warming waters, it's changing things up at Lake of the Woods a little bit, Brett. Those fish are in a transition mode where they're shifting over to more of a summer type pattern, and really some of that is, there's not every walleye in the lake is doing everything the same anyway. But some of the walleyes that have been on structure are starting to transition off into the mud, and consequently that jig bite's still going, but it's starting to transition to a spinner bite. And I can tell you this, that our charter boats during the summer on Lake of the Woods make a living drifting with spinners and crawlers. It is that good.
Now, Joe, I know those guide services are full service, so they supply all the gear. Dan, pull that picture back up if you still have it.
Yeah, hang on.
If you don't.
That one.
Yeah, there you go. I'm wondering, do the bush lights come with the guide services, or is that something that you have to bring yourself?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at the Rocky Mountains in the background. Oh, no, those are clouds. They kind of look like bugs.
Fish.
Those are not Coors cans.
So here's how it works. You asked a question, so I'm going to give the answer. Those bush lights are not provided by the charter captain nor the resort. You got to bring those on your own. Now, if you're fishing U.S. waters like our charter boats do, you're welcome to bring a cooler bush lights if you like, and many anglers do. It is one of the cool things. It depends on what kind of group. Every group is a little different. You get families on board that bring really good lunches and stuff. You get a group of guys once in a while that'll bring a cooler beer. Other people will bring wine on board and crackers and cheese to have for their snack. Everybody's a little different, and just like a fish house, no different. It's fun. It's fun though, and you're going on vacation, man. You're going on a fishing trip, but when you jump on a charter boat. And here's the deal. The charter boats are so nice because you do not have to be an avid angler. You don't have to have a big water boat to cover Lake of the Woods. You don't have to worry about the weather. You don't have to worry about the bug hatch or where the fish are today or anything. Really, two things you need to worry about when you go on a fishing on a charter boat on Lake of the Woods. Hey, what should I wear and what should I bring to eat? And in fact, if you want to, you can even pay the resort and they'll put on a real nice big lunch. The captain will bring the cooler on board with the big lunches, and you can even have that one covered. Normally dress in layers. Lake of the Woods, you can still have cool mornings, or if it's windy and rainy, you can have a cool day. So dress in layers, bring some rain gear, sunscreen, sunglasses, and a hat, and you'll be in good shape. And we'll say you said it, Brett. You said it best. Everything is provided at rods, reel, tackle, bait, licensed charter captain. These charter captains, they've had to go through a lot to get their captain's license. These are avid anglers who really enjoy taking people fishing, putting you on fish. And when you go on a charter boat on Lake of the Woods, the chances of success are very, very high. You are going to catch fish. It's just about how many you're going to catch and how big are they going to be. And I think the cool thing too is that when you don't have to have 6 people to go on a charter boat. A charter boat will take 6 because all of us captains have what's called a 6-pack license. We can have up to 6 paying customers on our boat. And then, if there's 2 of you, you can go on one of the resorts and one of the charter boats, specifically along the river and South Shore and such. And what they'll do a lot of times is they'll mix you up with another group of 3 or 4, so you don't have to pay, but just for your 2 spots. That's kind of a neat thing. And then the other thing I think is neat is that when you come in, at the end of the day, usually around 5 o'clock, the guys will clean all the fish for you. You just have to let them know, hey, I'm going to eat them at the resort tonight, or we're going to cook them up in our cabin, or go ahead and prepare them to travel home. And they'll put the markings on them.
A couple of things about that, Joe. There's a big discussion about whether or not guides in Minnesota should be licensed, and because that generally weeds out a lot of the bad guides or the people you don't want out there guiding clients. You don't have to worry about that at Lake of the Woods because they're all licensed anyway. And
well, when you say license, it's interesting too, Brett, because I know I got my captain's license initially on Lake Erie, which was in Ohio. And when you ran on Lake Erie, you had to have an Ohio guide's license that you purchased. in addition to a U.S. Coast Guard license for a captain. So the captain's license is one that when you run on international waters and border waters and things like that, you have to have that one. And then each state independently might have, a guide's license on top of it. Minnesota does not.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see points for it and against it, but I'm not opposed to putting, nobody wants more government regulation. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see that either, but I have no problem with guides being licensed in Minnesota. And the other thing I've noticed, Joe, when it comes to like those bush lights on board, I've noticed
nice transition.
When people pack their coolers in the morning, the amount of bush lights in it directly correlates to whether or not they close sporties down the night before. So sometimes there's more bush lights. Sometimes they don't pack quite as many when they head out there.
You smile when you say that, but you know that old saying, first night in camp.
First night in camp.
For listeners, what first night in camp means is that, people get to up to Lake of the Woods and they're all excited. They're fresh. They're rested. That first night, boy, they hit it hard. That next morning comes pretty darn quick when you're up late and having a few of your favorite beverages.
Oh, man.
Know any places to take a nap?
I used to host all those bus trips to Ballards from Fargo with the radio station, and the guys would they'd start drinking on the bus on the way up there, and I'd be like, "Hey guys, I've been doing this for a long time. You guys just be careful. It's going to be an early morning tomorrow." So,
hey Danny, no, listen, wait a second. No. We're listening to Mr. Responsible, right? Of all people, mentoring us.
Get to the end of this story though, and we'll see who the responsible one is.
Yeah, I've definitely closed the bar down with them more than once. But that was the thing, it got to be after a while. I would say, because I'd always have to make announcements on the bus ride up there. I'd be like, guys, it's the first night in camp. You're going to want to party. Just understand what tomorrow morning is going to look like, and I give them an idea. And we did the same thing in the winter too, because a lot of times we had an hour-long bomber ride, and that can be a long ride if you stayed out till
if you're not feeling too well,
1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, drinking bush lights. So it's something to think about. And obviously those charter boats are very comfortable, and even when it's a little rolly out there, you're pretty comfortable in those big boats. But more than once I've seen some of those guys take a nap below deck while we're out there catching walleyes.
Mix in a water every once in a while.
It's part of fun, having fun and relaxation and everything else means different things to different people. Somebody has asked me to give a quick blurb about fishing with my dad for Father's Day, and it was just for a podcast, and my dad wasn't much of an angler, and the memory I gave was we were up in a fly-in in Canada, and he wanted to take a nap while we're fishing in a fly-in lake, and so he sits in the front of the boat and lays down in the front of the boat, and while he's up there trying to sleep, he's snoring, and I got a big pike on, and he tries to get up to net it, and oh gosh, he's more about taking a nap and having a really good sandwich probably than he did the fishing. But you know what? It's still memories. It's still really good memories, and we've talked about it. While he was still living, we talked about it over and over, and that's what it's about. Like, some people want to go and hardcore fish. Other people want to go out and make memories with their family or their work group or their loved ones on a charter boat, and that's what's so nice. When you got the big boat, you got a bathroom facility on board, you got the captain leading the way. The captain's dialed in with other captains, so if those fish aren't today where they were yesterday when he caught them, you know what? He's dialed in with other charters. They're going to put you on a good bite, and that's all part of charter fishing. I mean, I love going on a charter. All the worries go away. I shoot some TV shows on a charter, and I do some photography, and once in a while we'll have some media people up, and that's when I get on a charter. Usually once in a while I'll run a charter. I don't do it a lot now because I'm just too busy, and even when I run a charter, you got to be in your A game. It's safety first. It's navigation, it's weather, it's making sure people are safe and comfortable, and then you got to figure out the fish. You got to get on fish and figure that whole thing out. I like it. I like that chess game. But boy, if you're going on vacation, it sure is nice to sit back and just reel in fish.
You brought up like traditions and people going, maybe to the same place year after year. It's nice to see that Flag Island is back open again.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. So, Flag Island Resort, which is one of our premier Northwest Anglo resorts, it's got food and a real nice bar, food, beverage, real nice harbor. It's secluded and it's beautiful. It's on this island with all these cabins that are just a picturesque setting. But Flag Island changed ownership and was closed for the winter and spring season. And now it's reopened. I'll tell you who bought it. Cyrus Resort, which is a very well-known resort on the south end of Lake of the Woods out of Bostic Bay. But so it's called Cyrus's Flag Island Resort. And, Cyrus on the south end is known for their great customer service. They're known for, their incredible restaurant. They got some of the best food on the lake. And all of that same customer service and quality and hospitality and food are coming to Flag Island. So I tell you right now, normally a lot of those Northwest Anglo resorts get pretty filled up in the summertime. If a person wanted to take a trip up to the Northwest Anglo this summer, Flag Island could be a good place to call, because I'll tell you what, there's probably still openings, as they just announced their reopening, and they are open now, Brett. So you've been there, I've been there.
Yeah.
Talk about Flag Island. I mean,
it's a neat place and a really neat location up there. And you almost feel like you're at a Canadian resort, really. It's with the kind of scenery that you have there, the islands and the rocky shoreline. And it doesn't really look like the south end of Lake of the Woods at all. So it's a really neat place for sure.
Yeah,
so
it's special, and we're excited. In fact, it's cool to hear the other resort owners up at the Northwest Angle, how welcoming they are. They know that that's one more resort that adds to their good reputation. Certainly, they'll be putting out the message, marketing, and things like that, which helps the whole area up there. And it's a good group of owners, good family ownership coming up to kind of take that resort over. And I think I know they're very welcomed. Justin and Tanya Ferguson and their family are the ones that own Cyrus, and now Cyrus's Flag Island.
Well, Joe, if people want to make a trip to the Northwest Angle or the South End or the Rainy River, what should they do for more info?
The fishing's been absolutely fantastic this last week. It's a good time to go. Check out our website. That is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.